The Wally Show podcast is our daily radio show heard live through the WayFM app each morning and hosted by Wally, Gavin, and me, Betty Rock. For more fun, be sure to connect with us at wayfm.com/Wally.
The Wally Show podcast is brought to you by Colorado Christian University Online, where you can earn a degree online just like Betty Rock. You can learn more at ccu.edu/Wally. The world can get hectic.
Are you kidding?
That's why we like to do news-ish
I need to calm down.
on The Wally Show.
It's a sad thing, but I've noticed it myself. I feel like after the COVID pandemic, people have just been ruder. I mainly see it not in person so much, but on the road. I feel like so many people are running red lights. So many people are just inching you off the road. Like there's just a lot of anger behind the wheel.
You know why that is?
Why?
I just realized it. During COVID, there were so many people at home. Like Gavin and I came in every day during COVID. The roads were glorious. You felt like you had your own private highway. You weren't sharing with people.
Right.
It was the population
That
we're
makes
supposed
sense.
to have.
Yeah.
You know?
Whoa. Okay. Well.
And then all of a sudden, it was like so nice to be like just alone. And then all of a sudden, like people started going back to work, and then it got crowded. And then it's like when you put rats in a cage, they just go nuts. That's a scientific experiment.
So you're comparing yourself to rats. Okay,
More
got it.
other people than me, but yes.
Okay. Well, not only is it on the road, it's also in person. Concert goers throwing things at the performer, angry outbursts at restaurants, having to be wrestled down to the ground on a plane. And so a bunch of people are noticing all of this. And so psychologists are speaking into it as to the possible reasons why we are still now 5 years later dealing with rudeness.
I'm curious why. I mean, we've always been a rude society, but if it's on the
gotten
uptick,
worse. One psychologist said, well, when we were in the midst of COVID, it created an every man for himself mentality. When you were thinking about people buying toilet paper, you have to get toilet paper. It's every man for himself. No one was watching out for anyone else.
Okay.
Another one said we're socializing less, so there were less connections and there were more loneliness, and so we got out of the habit of knowing what it was like to interact with people, and so we're having to learn all over again.
Do you think that, like, for some people, they enjoyed that time alone, and then coming out of COVID, some people were like, people, please, please, and then other people were probably like, oh, I'm good like this. I don't need all that social interaction.
Yeah, but I think that there needs to be a balance for sure. You can't spend too much time alone, and you can't spend all your time with people. But also, too, when people couldn't see others, you were forced to do social media. So you were posting your whole story on social media. And I never thought about it this way, but one psychologist said that social media creates a main character mindset.
Oh, sure.
So you think everyone needs to cater to you because you are the main character of your life.
Right.
And everyone needs to just get out of your way. And social media isn't helping with that.
That makes sense, because before it used to just be reserved for people that had a platform, like, you know, if you had a TV show, a radio show, or you're a movie star, like, there's the main character energy.
Right.
I know one person in this room, Gavin, has main character energy.
About I'm about like the least main character energy person in this room.
That is very true.
That is very, okay, one of us does, not important who. But then social media gave everyone a platform, and now all of a sudden you've got all these, basically main characters in the world competing for that attention.
Yeah, so rudeness is definitely bound to happen. So if you're noticing this in your own life and you're wondering how can we fix this, most psychologists are saying practice the golden rule, which is
do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Giving a bit of grace where grace can be given.
Tough.
And having more in-person interactions instead of doing over the phone or on Zoom, on the computer. Have it where it's in person.
There you go. Okay, well, if you're struggling with this, it's maybe a way to combat it and turn the tide of this and fix the rudeness that we're experiencing right now. And that's going to do it for your News-ish. Thank you, Lady Rock. Uplifting WayFM, this is the Wally Show, and we've got Betty Rock, the boss queen herself of the show here, celebrating things that she's done or other women have done. What do you got?
Yeah, so imagine for me, if you will, walking into your apartment and you're going to put on your PJs.
All right.
So you're hanging up the clothes that you wore that day because they're not dirty. You're just going to hang them back up or whatever.
Sure.
You turn the light on in your closet and you hear a pop. The light bulb goes.
Oh, Okay. Yeah, that's a good light bulb sound effect. Yeah.
Anyway, and I'm like, oh, this is super easy to fix. Like, you replace a light bulb.
Yeah, even you could do that. You unscrew it.
It's not that hard.
This is not a boss queen so far.
No,
yeah, I changed the light bulb.
Here's the thing. There was a glass molding or something that covers the light bulb.
Yeah.
And I could not I could not figure out how that thing worked. I saw that there were 3 screws.
Yeah.
Okay, keeping it. Okay, you know what I'm talking
about? At the top,
I've
on the lip.
Never seen that. Never saw it.
Yeah.
So I was like, well,
it's lighting technology from the 1800s.
And then I'm scared that I'm going to electrocute myself. So I could have called someone.
Okay.
But I didn't. Instead, I didn't have a ladder.
Oh.
But I used my dining room chair.
Okay.
And I pulled it up.
Respect that.
Then I hurt my neck and my shoulders having to know, figure out how it was working. I unscrewed the screws and the glass molding thing just fell out.
Comes right off.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
And then I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. And I replaced the light bulb.
Yeah.
And then I was able to figure out how to put the glass molding back on. And
that's what surprised me. I kind of figured the glass molding would be sitting on your dresser.
Well, I thought about it. I honestly thought about it. But I was preparing myself throughout the night, just thinking at some point I might hear this thing crash and hear all the glass break at some point. But I never did. It never
You didn't.
fell.
And you live in an apartment. You could have called somebody, but you didn't.
Could have called my landlord, but instead I was like, who needs that guy?
Mad
I can
respect.
do it myself.
Mad respect.
And I did. And I had no idea. I could have called my dad. Didn't do that
Oh,
either.
I love that. Danny Ray's like, my girl's growing up.
Yeah.
My baby girl.
I'm a big girl.
Yeah, you are a big girl. Way to go, boss queen.
Thank you.
Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show. And we have an event coming up that the girls have put together, the women of Way, if you will, have put together a women's event that is very non-inclusive. They are not letting men go to their women's event. And so I obviously have a problem with this because I want to be there. And I'm not going to be. But I think it's going to be fine anyway.
Yes. So, yes, the Women of Way, we are all going to be speaking there. Joy from our middays, Becca, who does our afternoons, and me, Betty Rock, will be there. And also Tasha Layton. You know her from a lot of hit songs that we play here at Way FM. But we're all going to be speaking at our first ever women's event called Reclaim. And reclaim, that word means taking back what you used to have. And so we're talking about those things that our faith gave us, but that the enemy tried to steal from us, and how we want to reclaim that. Yes?
I do understand that. No, that lands with me. Like, because when I was younger, I was more optimistic, and I would love to reclaim that. Like, I'm very pessimistic now, or I'm a realist. And so when I was younger, I always saw the good first in everything, and then radio happened, and then I became
jaded.
I did jaded and bitter. And so if I was going, I'd be like, hey, can we talk about this? What are you going to talk about, Rock?
Well, I'm going to talk about reclaiming contentment, and this is something that I don't have down pat. This is something that I'm still currently working on, but the reason that it's close to my heart is because my life has not panned out the way that I thought it would. Now, on the business side of things, work-wise, it was better than I ever dreamed it would be. But on the personal side of my life, it's nothing at all what I thought or hoped that it would be. And so having to find contentment in the unknown, not knowing what the future's going to look like, if it's even going to pan out.
Right.
I'm trying to find contentment because there is so much that the Lord has given me that I need to be grateful for. And I am, but sometimes it's a struggle.
Sure, that's understandable.
To not let the enemy take away my contentment and instead focus on the one thing that the Lord hasn't given me.
So do you have it all figured out, though, like what you're going to say? Have you planned
I
it?
have my bullet points, and I have some bullet points under that. I have some Bible verses.
Nice.
And pretty much I'm not only am I going to be speaking to all the women that are there for our event, but also I'm going to be speaking to myself. I of course, would love to see anybody and everybody there, all ladies, not Wally. It's happening March 29th, so that date is coming up, but you can actually grab your tickets when you go to wayfm.com or when you text the word reclaim to 91979.
So do you need any help with your stuff?
I do, because here's the thing. I'm focusing on contentment from being a single woman at almost 40. But I know that there are other struggles out there where contentment is key. And I kind of need an idea of what others are facing in their lives when it comes to regaining or reclaiming their contentment.
Okay.
So I can have a broader idea of what people need to hear.
Yeah, and how do you find gratitude again,
Right.
for things? Okay, so yeah, maybe you walked through something similar to that. How did you get to that point? Because any practical advice could be good that Betty could add into what she wants to talk about as well, versus going, sorry guys, just you
We're
got
all
to figure it
lost.
out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. If you want to help out Betty and other people listening that maybe haven't found that balance yet or that secret that you've come into or that strategy, we'd love to hear yours now. 855-33-WAY-FM.
What is that situation in life that you had to learn or you're currently still trying to learn contentment in?
Still working on, but it's taken me about 19 years. I lost my oldest child 19 years ago. He was 19 years old, so he would be turning 38 this year, and went through a lot of trials, of course, and grief, but I really have gotten to the point where I'm content with knowing that God is in control of that situation and every situation in our life, and it's been humbling, but I've learned to be content with the fact that he took him home.
Well, and Missy, I'm sure that wasn't your first thought or your first feeling when your son passed away. You know, you said you've had 19 years of this loss, and so I'm sure it didn't come to you automatically, but something you've had to work on. What was the work you had to do to get there?
Go through all those steps of grief, the grief journey, one of them being angry. My son was 19 and in a river, really bad conditions. He drowned, and I think as humans, we want to blame somebody. I didn't have anybody to blame. I didn't have a drunk driver. I didn't have somebody that, took his life. So my anger turned to God, and that lasted probably about a year. Had to work through that. Then you go through all the other steps, but it's taken a very long time to just get to the point where I've got peace, and I am content with the fact that glory was brought to Christ by my son's death, if that sounds a little weird, but there is a lot of joy I find. So I'm content in that, and I'm good with it, and I look forward to seeing my son again one day.
Have you walked through that before, and how did you get to that point where you were able to be grateful?
Certainly. So I am currently walking through a season of my life that is testing me and my contentment, and I am dealing with some infertility, and in February I suffered a miscarriage.
That's hard.
What is helping me get through that is remembering that while I don't know what the future holds, I know who holds the future.
You and Betty Rock are in a similar place in that you wanted your life to look a certain way,
right?
And then it's not.
And with the development of social media, I'm sure, Abby, you see on your friends moving on and they get what you want, and you don't want to be this bitter person that can't celebrate with others in their wins. And so it can be a fight to be content in who you are and not compare your journey with someone else's. And I love what you had to say, like you don't know what tomorrow looks like, but you know who holds tomorrow. And that's so true. It's a great reminder, not only for me, but I'm sure for others, that we may not know what the future holds, but it has to go past God. And so we know that whatever happens, whatever touches our lives, it has to go through Him first. And hopefully we can find peace in that. Hey, Wally, do you have a minute?
Sorry, busy.
I have cake.
Oh, what do you need?
Yeah, see, that's a perfect example of even though we are busy, we make time for what's important.
Yeah, because going back to school as an adult, you're busy with work, you've got family, but if you want to make your education a priority, trust me, you can do it. Betty did.
Like when I first started, I was super intimidated because it had been a while since I've been in school. But I mean, from the very first conversation, I felt like they were setting me up for success.
Yeah, and going back to school with CCU's flexible online courses makes it so convenient.
Yeah, and what's so cool is every class has a biblical worldview perspective. And so you think, well, how can they turn math into a biblical worldview? They find a way.
Yeah, and that was one of my jobs when I was teaching at CCU, was integrating not just the facts and figures of things, but how your faith plays into what you're going to do.
CCU offers Christ-centered higher education, transforming students to impact the world with grace and truth.
Cultivate your mind without compromising your heart. Get started today at online.ccu.edu. Colorado Christian University is a non-profit impact partner.
We take this very seriously.
Very demure.
It's news-ish.
Very mindful.
On The Wally Show.
Several dozen people gathered at an apartment complex in South Carolina to remember a longtime resident who died the day before. They gathered to honor this individual who had been there for over a decade.
Oh, wow.
His name was Walter, and what makes Walter so special is Walter's an alligator.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not where I thought this was going.
Oh, really? Did I make it seem more dramatic than it was? Oh, okay. Well, just hang on.
Walter's a great old guy name.
Yeah, it's going to get more dramatic. He would come up on the bank, and he would sun peacefully. Some of the residents there, were like more of a nuisance than Walter was, with their loud music and their kids stomping on the floor of the top floor of the apartment. Walter never ate anyone, which is pretty big if you're an alligator. I mean, it speaks volumes of his integrity. He just likes sunning peacefully on the banks of the pond. So how did Walter die? Was it old age? Alligators live for a long time. No. It was murder!
What?
Yes. The apartment complex got some complaints, probably from new tenants or northerners, and they hired a guy to take Walter out.
What?
Yeah.
But they could have just rehomed him.
I know, but that's not what this apartment complex did.
Oh, my word.
The vigil organizer, Rebecca, she told the TV station that people with pets and kids could walk right by Walter, and he was not even bothered. He was a piece of the community. Even though he was cold-blooded as an animal, we loved him, and this tore us all up. Yeah.
Aww.
My heart breaks.
I know. So the statement last
Walter.
week from the property manager said Walter's death followed state law, and news about his passing can be distressing, and we sincerely appreciate your understanding. In the future, please continue to abide by posted signage about not feeding wildlife, including alligators, for everyone's safety. If you observe displaced wildlife in our community, please do not interfere. They're gaslighting them. They're basically blaming the residents who loved Walter for his death. And I'm sorry. It was murder!
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so sad.
I know.
There's no redeeming this story at all? You're just going to leave us on this down note?
No, there is something redeeming. I recently purchased an alligator and I chucked it in that pond, so they'll have a big alligator soon to replace Walter. If there's one thing that's been said about Betty Rock, it's that she's a giver. She loves to help out. She's a helper. And so that's what she does with the scoop. She finds information that can help make your life better, and she shares it with you. So what do you got?
I have the scoop on how to help you stay focused.
Oh, I could use this. I suffer from lack of focus a lot. Did you see that on TV just now?
That's a problem, though, with ADHD.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, but there's some people, some of us that don't have ADHD and still find it hard to focus. So I have a scoop on how you can better focus yourself.
Fantastic.
And that is, and it's simple. Just chew on a wooden pencil.
Wait, what?
That's it. There's a new study that
You mean this Adderall is not working?
they did this study where they had people take this quiz, and they found out that the people that chewed on a pencil were able to concentrate better. Were able to have a better grade on it because they were able to focus better. They did say that chewing on a pencil somehow improves blood flow to your brain, and it releases an antioxidant called GSH.
Okay.
Where am I chewing?
Yeah, because I'm assuming not the lead. Because lead's typically bad for you.
Like, what would you do if you were typically, did you never chew a pencil in school?
I would chew but look at, Betty says it like it's so natural.
Yeah, no.
Didn't you
I
eat
did.
the erasers? I ate the erasers.
No, I didn't.
Just tap your fingers or something.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to be able to concentrate.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Okay.
Why?
Well, I've told you why. It helps
Yeah.
improve the blood flow to your brain. I don't know, something to consider. If you find yourself over there yawning like you do.
You could also just exercise.
You know what? This isn't your scoop, Gavin. This is my scoop.
That's fair.
And my scoop is chew on a pencil.
Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. It's Tuesday, so it is Time Capsule Tuesday, where we each pick a song from a specific year. We put it out there. We say, this is a song we like. Which one do you like best? Which one do you think you'd like to hear today? And why? The and why is important. We love the reasons that you connect with different songs. So today we're going to start off with, who has Francesca Battistelli?
I'm over here.
Is that my little friend Gavin?
I love Francesca Battistelli.
I know.
Come on, this is her song, I'm Letting Go.
Wait.
I'm letting go.
Oh.
It's like to believe.
That's a great song. And all the way back to what year, Lady Rock?
Yeah, we're going back to 2008.
Okay, now, Gavin, I would love to make fun of you right now. More than life itself, I would love to make fun of you for picking that song.
But
I cannot.
Exactly.
I cannot, because Francesca Battistelli, also my guilty pleasure.
She's fire.
There is a reason, I wouldn't say that, but there is I don't know why I really liked her music so much. Maybe it's just the little girl in me, but I just connected with her music a lot when she was writing back in the day. It was fun. I liked it because it was fun.
Yeah, she dominated the late 2010s to me.
Anyhow, all right, let's go from 2008, song number 2. It's got to be Lady Rock's 10th Avenue North. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Love is here.
Love is here. Love is now. Love is pouring from his hands, from his brow. Love is near. It's satisfied.
Another great song. That is maybe one of my favorite 10th Avenue North songs, too. They've written so many great songs. I love that.
Yeah.
So why'd you pick that one?
Because I want to win.
Oh, you're just playing the
come on.
game?
Yeah, I
because
just
you
wanted
think
to pick
10th
one that's
Avenue North
popular.
is a bigger draw. Okay,
Well, it was definitely played a lot. So
we'll
I just
see
thought,
how
I don't know.
this works out for you, because I'm bringing out the big guns. I went with I guess we all went with female artists.
Like we all like the guys all went with?
All three of us, because I was making fun of Mike Donaghy.
Oh, come on now.
So here it is, the quintessential, the piece de la resistance, Natalie Grant, In Better Hands.
Like the sun is shining when the rain is pouring down. It's like my soul is flying though my feet are on the ground.
The queen of CCM.
So take this heart of mine, there's no doubt. I'm in better hands.
So there you go. Those are your choices today. In Better Hands, Natalie Grant, mine. Love is Here, 10th Avenue North, Betty Lou's. And Gavin's, I think Gavin is the purist in this one. Betty's like, I'm just trying to win. I'm picking a big song. And I'm like, Natalie's pretty great. Like, I think she could win too. And Gavin's like, I just want to be me,
Girl power.
Yeah, exactly. So who are you going with and why? What song do you like from 2008? 855-33-WAY FM is the number. That's 855-33-WAY FM, and you'll get to decide which song gets played now on Way FM. Uplifting Way FM, this is The Wally Show. Lori, welcome to Time Capsule Tuesday, where you have a job. You have to tell us which of the 3 songs, I'm Letting Go, Francesca Battistelli, Gavin's choice, Love is Here, 10th Avenue North, Betty Rock's choice, or In Better Hands, Natalie Grant, my choice. Which of those 3 songs would you like to hear today, and why?
I'm Letting Go, Francesca Battistelli.
Okay, now that it was Gavin's choice, and I couldn't make fun of him because she is a guilty pleasure for me. I mean, I love Skillet and all this heavy music, but I have a soft spot in my heart for Franny. So why do you want us to go with Franny today?
Well, both of my kids were born in the 2006, 2007, and my daughter just loved Francesca Battistelli, and she was like the soundtrack of her growing up years, and it just has a special place in my heart.
I love that. What a great reason for picking it. Very pure.
It's the same reason Gavin picked it.
Yeah, pretty much. But he was the little girl in that time.
Love that. I love Gavin.
Here we go, all the way back to 2008. It's I'm Letting Go by Francesca Battistelli, and that was Gavin and Lori's pick today on Time Capsule Tuesday.
My heart beats standing on the edge, but my feet have finally left the ledge.
Hey, just remember, they are trying their best.
You know what? I am not going to give up that easy.
It's news-ish
I'm going to make this way harder than it needs to be.
on The Wally Show.
What you got, Gavin?
Whether you're watching cable television, YouTube, streaming, I assume everyone's favorite part of that is watching advertisements.
Yes.
No.
I have a couple services that just switched to going ads, and my wife didn't pay for the non-ads, and I support that. But I always forget in the middle of a show, and it goes to the ads. I'm like, why? And I just look at her. I'm like, really? Am I not worth no ads?
Well, and you'll get ads on YouTube, and I will be sitting there waiting for the skip button.
You're just like,
I'm ready to hit it.
And it's only 5 seconds.
I don't care. I don't want to give them the satisfaction of 1 second of my time.
You know what I hate? Like, they started with 5 seconds. You're like, all right, I can deal with that. And then they started putting like a 15-second before the 5 second. Like, oh, evil.
It's
evildoers.
It's getting worse and worse. And speaking of getting worse, if you are a Roku earner, they are testing a new autoplay ads that run before you can access the home screen.
It's ridiculous.
That is an uncomfortable place to start. Like when you turn television on for enjoyment. I'm excited to watch my show. Can't wait to get to it. I can deal with an ad or two in between.
Sure.
But like them throwing it at you as the pre-enjoyment process to me is annoying. And they're not rolling it out to every last Roku earner. They're testing it early on.
Oh, they just want to anger some people.
Just a couple people.
They're like, hey, what would Southwest do? I don't know. Make everybody angry that uses our product.
Whoever was the employee that came up with this idea at Roku saying this is a good idea, they need to be swiftly moved somewhere else.
It's always Jenkins. Great idea, Jenkins. Can we make more money on this? Probably not, but we're going to make people mad. Let's go with it.
And at the end of the day, I think it's more reflective of like who we are as a society, is that we're not patient through, like really at the end of the day, maybe a minute or so of your time before you get to your experience.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I don't want that.
But let's go with this. Okay, 5-second ads on YouTube. Have you ever bought anything, Gavin?
Not a chance.
Betty
No,
Rock.
never.
Me either. I don't even know what they are. I'm disinterested in it.
If anything, if I've noticed what it is, then I don't want to buy whatever they're selling.
I've had that exact reaction where I got angry at them for wasting my time, you know, and so that's like, I don't see that this being a win for Roku. I already bought your device. Just, why can't that be enough, you know?
Yeah, they're very money hungry. The only place that I'll ever watch good ads is like TikTok or on social media. That's the only place that I ever am like, well, maybe I'll buy that.
I will say this. TikTok does a better job at serving you what you actually might want. Their algorithm is good, and like a lot of times the ad is actually, it catches you. I've bought stuff off TikTok Shop before, but nothing off of any of the other services.
Yeah, they're serving an entity of people. They're like, oh, here's your money.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, we'll just throw this in front of people.
Yeah.
And again, you're right. I'm never going to buy whatever they're selling me.
Yeah, a lot of these other brands, you take a note from TikTok and then go, how does the Chinese government do it? Let's do it that way. So the other day I was doing a little skimming. Hey, it's the Wally Show on Uplifting Way FM. I don't claim to read. I skim a lot of things. But I came across this really interesting article this guy had written. He was talking about how Christians often say things to make people feel better that don't really land in that situation. And I get it, because you got the best heart, your best intention, but like saying to someone that just lost their child, well, I guess heaven needed another angel. And you're like, okay. Or we grab some verse out of context just because it sounds like it might be applicable, rather than an insight into genuine hope. We offer platitudes, you know, and a platitude it's an accurate saying whose like truth has been hollowed out because it's been used flippantly, kind of thing, and we blurt them out and sometimes and someone's facing something difficult and it doesn't really help, you know. Jesus, the thing about him that was so great is he never gave platitudes. His words would do a couple things. Sometimes they would sting because it was truth to people, but then it was always hope that he offered. Even with a sting, there was always hope, and stuff. And he was really, really good at that. And the Bible is filled with that if we use it properly. I did like this example he gave kind of as he was talking about his own situation. He said, when our kids were little and they were scared at night, my wife and I would go into their room, we'd put our hand on them, and we'd just say, it's going to be okay. And he said in that moment, our kids weren't responsible for working up the mindset to feel better. It wasn't on them to think righteous thoughts so that they could work past their fear. It was that they had a personal connection to us as their parents. Our presence was the conduit for strength and peace, and it just came through us. And he's like, that's what a relationship with God is. That's what the Bible is. It is God speaking to you. It is peace and hope for you in those times of need. And so that's kind of what I want to dive into right now. Is there a particular Bible verse? I mean, we've all been through stuff. Everybody's stuff is a little different, but we've all been through stuff. Is there a verse for you that brings peace? It was like, man, that changed the way I saw things. It changed how I felt.
It was exactly what you needed to hear at the time.
Yeah.
And who knows, someone might be going through something similar and you're sharing your story and they'll be like, oh, I didn't even think about that verse or what it meant that it could mean to my situation.
Because sometimes too, if you've spent any time in church, you may have heard a verse 1,000 times and it was like, okay, that's fine. But then when you went through something, that verse was it for you. That was the peace that Jesus brings. That was the hope that Jesus brings in the midst of your turmoil. So what is that verse for you? 855-33-WAY-FM. That's how you can be on the show. We love having you on the show. And this stuff matters because it makes a difference for other people too. So 855-33-WAY-FM. If you'd like to share yours, we'll take it now. So what's your Bible verse?
Well, and this comes in the backdrop, Wally. I just lost my mom a week ago.
Oh, wow.
And the verses that give me strength are the verses in John 14 where Jesus says, I go to prepare a place for you. And when I go there, I will come back and receive you unto myself. So when people say, I'm sorry that you lost your mom, when I say thank you for your prayers, it's really a two-part. Thank you for your prayers, but I also have the certainty. I know that I will see her again in heaven.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Bible is filled with hope. And even in grief, like the loss of your mom or I lost my dad, and there are times where I miss him horribly, but I do have that hope that one day I will see him again, and I'm glad that we have that. It doesn't lessen the sting now, but it is something that maybe you hope for the future, and I'm glad that you have that. And I am sorry that you lost your mom because I know it's not easy, and you'll be good days and bad days. You move forward, not on.
Thank you.
So what is that for you? Because your verse might help somebody else out today too.
It is 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. And it says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and sound judgment.
Oh, I love that. Why is that so poignant for you?
I'll give you one example. Of last week, we had a massive brush fire in my area, and it came very close to my house, and we had to evacuate. And so driving through, my daughter and I actually drove through 2 pockets of fire, and I just kept repeating that over and over and over again in my car driving through the fire.
And if at any time in your life you had the right to be scared, that would be it. I mean, driving through fire, that's pretty drastic. And I'm sure that you repeating this, God has not given me a spirit of fear, probably helped calm your child down too.
Yes. She's 9 years old, and she was hidden in the back seat throughout the whole thing. She laid her head down and didn't want to look at the fire, and I just started repeating that over and over again.
That's probably better. I would have been singing that Pillar song, Fireproof, that we used to play on Way FM. I love that song. But yours is better.
Yeah, a lot better.
Boy, that feels really good, doesn't it, today? Ah, so nice.
Angsty, we
I
need
know.
it.
I love it. It feels good. Another option would have been Another in the Fire by Hillsong.
There is another in the fire.
That's more on brand for Way FM today. It's nice. It ain't. There you go. And if you know the lyrics of that, your kid just instantly thought you were cooler than you were 5 minutes ago. So what's yours?
Mine is Colossians 3:23. And whatsoever you do, do it heartily as unto the Lord and not unto men. And so for me, it was eye-opening because I've always dealt with like self-worth and not valuing myself. And I was running a janitorial business and just really down on myself. And I was reading that, studying, and God just spoke to me through that and thought, it doesn't matter what your job title is or what you're doing. It's doing it with all your heart and all your mind and your soul towards and for the Lord and not for man.
Yeah, doing it with excellence and pointing people to Christ while you're there. It might not be where you're going to be forever, but while you're there, make the most of it. I remember I went to serve with Shower Up in North Carolina after the Hurricane Helene went through, and I was doing people's laundry, like first responders' laundry and all these other people's laundry that had been affected. And I thought, man, I wish I was out there rescuing people and being a first responder. Instead, I'm just washing their underwear, you know? And I'm like, this is not what I really want to do. This is a bummer. And a lady came up to us and said, hey, we just appreciate you doing the laundry because now we'll have something clean to wear to all the funerals. And you're like, what?
Oh, wow.
Instant reset for me. And I washed people's underwear like I was doing it for the Lord, you know?
That's right.
So it's a great reminder. Colossians 3:23. Angie, you're the best. Thanks for being on the show with us today.
Thank you, Wally. Y'all have a great day.
Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.
Uplifting Way FM. If it's trending, streaming, or starring, Betty Rock's got it on The Rock Report.
We all have an opinion on this question. What is the worst movie that was ever made? Well, I found a list of what people would consider the worst movies of the past 10 years. I want to see if you agree and see, too, if you've even seen some of these, because the three that I chose to talk about, I haven't seen any of them.
Oh, really? And that's just because they put this list out before Wolfman.
That one was rough.
Yeah,
and that's
horrible.
I agree. Yep.
Scary.
One of those movies that made the list of the worst is Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Yes, of
from
course.
2021. It had LeBron James in it.
Yeah.
Went a little something like this.
I need to assemble an elite team to help get my son back.
I know what you're looking for. A dream team. Them. Shoot
Oh,
the
boy.
ball.
I got to get my son on the same team as me. That's
And
what
he's
I gotta
actually
do.
doing that
I
in real
know.
life now. Yeah. But a lot of people said that it had a predictable plot, forced pop culture references.
Let me just say
And they
this.
said LeBron James' poor acting skills.
Well, of course. If you are breaking down Space Jam 2 as a critic, you've got to reevaluate your career. Like, that's when you don't even comment.
Don't
on.
waste your time.
Yeah, like that. No one expects that to have a really big character development or story arc.
Yeah, but if you compare it to the first one, like the first one is very nostalgic.
Did you like it?
It didn't
loved
try
it.
very hard.
It was just fantastic.
Yeah.
It was so good. Had Michael Jordan in it, but they were just trying, I guess, to ride off of that, and
Sure.
it didn't work. The next one is from 2017, the Emoji Movie.
Oh, yeah.
But gotta have some sort of purpose here.
I'm gonna help you. We need to get off the phone and find the source code.
Then I can fit in.
Let's roll.
I never saw that either. I had heard it was from some people that it was good. And so you said it made the list of the worst?
Yeah, it said more of an ad than a compelling story and poor animation.
Oh, okay.
Gavin, did you see it?
No, it never piqued my interest.
Okay. And then coming in at number one is one that I think Wally will be super disappointed in because there was one part in the movie that he actually wanted to talk on the air about.
Oh, no.
And it was
I know
so
what you're talking about.
ridiculous.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Is it the Robert Downey Jr. movie with the gorilla? What was it? Dr. Dolittle?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's okay to be scared.
dadgummit.
It's okay to be scared.
This keeps coming back to haunt me.
You saw it in theaters,
Yes.
and you said you actually cried in the auditorium
There's a
watching
moment
it.
that got me. It's okay to be scared. Like, I was like, oh, yeah, it is okay to be scared
But
sometimes.
the man is talking to a gorilla.
A talking
on
gorilla.
a ship.
Yeah, but it's a gorilla that had feelings and emotions and heart. You know, that part was great.
Well, they experience a $50 to $100 million loss, and they had terrible reviews. Some they tried to twist to make positive, like the cinematic car crash. It very easily could have been, didn't turn out that way.
Oh.
And then bizarre but entertaining.
There you go. I'll take that.
So you don't hear a 56-year-old grown man cries at Dr. Dolittle with, "It's okay to be scared."
They should have asked me for a quote. I would have quoted. I would have been like, "Oh my gosh, it was so moving. I cried."
Well, it made the worst movies of the past 10 years.
There you go. All right, that's going to do it for your Rock Report. Thank you, Lady Rock. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. There are two angels on this earth that I know of. One is my mom, not Gavin, and the other is Betty Lou's mom, Robin. Like she is precious as all get out.
She always finds the positive in everything, and she's always thankful. I want to be more like her.
Your mom and my mom together would be an apocalypse of positivity. It would be amazing.
It would be toxic positivity.
Yes, it
honestly.
would.
No, recently I was with my mom, and she just wasn't feeling. The vibes weren't vibing with her hair.
Yeah.
She's been growing it out, and she just didn't.
Because she used to have really short hair. It was super cute.
But after she retired, she really let it grow out, and so she really just didn't know what to do with it. So she was pulling it back in a ponytail. And I was over there, and I was like, I think we could figure something out.
Let's spruce it up, Ma. Let's go.
So she wanted some more body, some more volume. I mean, the nut doesn't fall far from the tree.
This
am I
is
right?
your specialty,
right?
too. Betty Rock can tease it to Jesus.
Right, and that's what I did. So I teased it to Jesus because, like Dolly Parton said, the higher the hair, the closer to God. And so I said, we want to get it close to God.
That's right, bump it up.
And so we figured out a hairdo that I think would work really well for her. And she was so excited about it. So then the next day, I get a call from her, and she's like, well, me and your daddy went to church, and I had 5 different people pull me to the side and say, you just look so pretty. I love what you did with your hair.
It's like the whole congregation.
You did it.
It really was.
You did a little side hustle of
So
doing
anyways,
hair, Rock.
I gave her an upgrade, I
go.
guess.
Nice. All right, well, let's talk about this, okay? Have you ever upgraded your parents? Not on a flight or anything, but upgraded their look or their equipment, like, brought them into the 21st century, things like that. I'm curious about that. Like, if my daughter tried to upgrade me, she'd have to downgrade me from skinny jeans to a pair of pants that's more fitting with my age. That would be an upgrade, ironically.
Yeah, and maybe get rid of the earrings. I think that would be an upgrade.
It's so funny. You have a problem with my earrings.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, on the other hand, has a problem if I don't have them in. My wife
Really?
is legitimately like, where are your earrings? I'm like, I don't have them in today. Why? And
I can't imagine saying to my husband,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
forgot your earrings.
That's very true, yeah.
It's a little weird.
I get it. I hear it when it comes out like that. But all right, so when have you upgraded your folks and how? 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. We'll take yours now.
So for you, Karen, what's a way that you helped your parents upgrade?
So I take care of my dad quite often. I upgraded his cell phone because he had an old flip phone. So we had to get him like the smartphone, where you could touch everything and do Facebook and email and everything on his phone. I don't know if it was a great idea because now at least once a week he's at my house so I can teach him how to use.
Yeah, you became tech support for your dad.
I did. I don't know if it was a good upgrade, but we tried.
So yesterday, I don't know how my mom did this. So we got my mom an iPhone, and she's gotten pretty good at it. She can attach pictures and files and things of the day. So I get a phone call, and it says it's from my sister. So I hit my sister. I'm like, hey, Wendy, what's up? And then I hear all this confusion and commotion. It's Wendy, my sister Jenny, my brother Jimmy, his wife, and 2 other people. I forget who was on it. Somehow my mom conferenced in 8 people into our phone call. I don't even know how to do that. And she did it completely by accident. None of us know how she did this.
Wow.
I think it was from a group text, and somehow she called everybody.
Oh, jeez.
That's funny.
Senior citizens
Good job,
cannot
Mom.
be trusted with smartphones.
Oh, absolutely not. We got to go back to a flip phone for her. What'd you do?
So my mom was a widow, and she just had a stroke, and she was a nurse of 60 years, and she made it back from the stroke.
Oh, wow.
And I said, Mom, everything that you've done for us as children, I'm going to take you on a shopping spree. We're going to go to Chico's, and we're going to buy you an entire new wardrobe. So we went there and blew about $5,000.
Whoa.
And there was no limit. I said, you can't look at any of the price tags, and this is just a moment of pure joy. And this is what you deserve for everything that you've done for us.
Okay, now I have to ask, were you keeping a running total as she's chucking things into the cart, or were you at the end surprised too?
I wanted to be surprised, so I waited till the end, and I said, we can't put anything back.
Oh my gosh, you were the best ever. Holy cow, I don't know if I could have done that.
Well, I won't do it again, but it was the most joyous time that I've ever spent with my mom as far as just not worrying about anything.
I love it, because really that's more important than the money too, and you did something that would totally brings a little bit of life back to her after all that she's been through. That's great.
Absolutely, and I think she wore those clothes for at least another 10 years.
Well, I would have made her. I'm not buying you any new things.
It was worth every moment.
Oh, what's this? An email? For me?
Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show. And from time to time, we'll do email about things that people have talked about on the show. And this one was actually really cool. She says, Rachel says, so I'm out walking my dog right now and listening to your podcast. We have a podcast that we do every day after the show that has new content, too, that you haven't even heard on the show.
Yeah, you can actually download it wherever you get podcasts, or if you're not sure where that is, just text TWS, the letters TWS, which stand for The Wally Show, to 91979, and we will send you a link. That's TWS to 91979.
And she said you guys were talking about your lives and the weekend and weather and stuff, and something you said hit me. You said that our worst day, losing that person, is their best day as they step into heaven. Now, that's not original to me. I heard somebody else say that before, and it made death a little bit more palatable for me, because we see it as finality. We see it as hurt and no good. We just see all the bad in it. Mm-hmm. But then, like when my father passed away, my sister said, I just had this view of him just standing there going like, wow, you can't believe this, And it was like his best day because all his pain was gone and all he knew was joy. And she says, I'm approaching the 2nd year anniversary of losing my dad pretty traumatically to pancreatic cancer, and starting to feel that same pain from that day. So the reminder of him being received into the arms of Jesus was just what I needed. Thank you, guys. Like, that's cool. I mean, I know we goof around on the show a lot. I mean, because I think there's healing in humor, and I think that we want to entertain people and just do it cleanly and stuff, and our faith is a backdrop. But when you have these moments, it's really kind of cool to see how God uses anything and everything to give people what they need in that moment. That's the bigger story. It's not the story of the show or anything like that. It's that this girl, Rachel, was seen by God, and she got what she needed, and she was listening at the time she needed to be listening to get her something to get through what she was going through.
Yeah, that's awesome to be a part of.
Oh, absolutely. If you ever want to email me, it's just wally@wayfm.com.
Well, that's the end, but it doesn't have to be. Check out our Aftercast. It's new stuff you didn't hear in the podcast. Be sure to rate us on iTunes, as well as connect with us on social media. Just search Wally Show. And if you'd like to join our Facebook group made exclusively for you potties, the link is in the description of this podcast. Thanks to Colorado Christian University Online for supporting what we do.